And now call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Natrona County Board of County Commissioners for Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 to order. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hendry?
Here.
Commissioner Milne?
Here.
Commissioner Nicolason?
Here.
Commissioner North?
Here.
Chairman Bertolio?
Here. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner North, seconded by Commissioner Nicolason. Any comments on any of the items? Mr. Hagler, you have any comments on any of all these agreements? Okay, straightforward. Looks like they're out of ways. So with that, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no public hearings tonight at this point. I would entertain comments from the public. If you care to visit with us, if you come up, state your name and address for the record. Good evening, Mr. Schneider.
Good evening, Andrew Schneider, 8711 Everett Lane. Wanted to take a moment here and invite you all to the Nicolason Art Museum on November the 9th. We will be hosting a forum at 5:30 p.m. For the public to meet our candidates for executive director before we make that choice. So ask you to come here from a panel of our finalists and fill out a little questionnaire to give us some feedback. And again, that's the 9th of November, beginning at 5:30 p.m.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Will there be cocktails? We'll be doing Board of Equalization hearings the whole week, so.
If you come, we will pour cocktails.
Okay.
For them.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Good evening, Mr. Lamont.
Good evening, Mr. Bertolio and Commissioners. I'm going to be a little redundant because we have a couple of new faces that couldn't make it earlier on them, so I'm going to put you on the spot if I could. But I had just a couple quick questions. On it, Eric, we kind of left it up. I was confused on the public hearing that's scheduled for December 6th. Is it still on? So it'll go as planned. So the meeting for the 24th, that's a work session, right?
29th.
On the 29th, excuse me. I better put my glasses on them. That's a work session that starts at 9 o'clock, and that's open to the public. Will it be held in this room here, most doubt? Depends upon how many people show up, right? On them. So
We may be able to go across the hall if things work out.
there was a little confusion on that, whether it was a work session or a public hearing, but
Yeah, it's going to be strictly a work session so that we,
the public hearing you're locked into because you've already advertised it, right? Can it be moved, Eric, or?
sure.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think at this point, I mean, we could move it. My recommendation would be is to just keep it, and if we get to the 6th and aren't ready to take
Exactly.
action, table it.
On it, and then Commissioner North, on your comments on cutting out so the commissioners' comments don't get lost with the public comments, did I get that right? On it,
Yes, that's my goal, is to make sure that we're looking at something that is just the commissioner's comments.
so,
And then-
but they'll be transparent and available to the public, though,
That's
right?
what I want. That's
Exactly.
what I want. We want everything to be transparent all the way across this process.
I was a little confused with that. And then the subcommittee that meets Thursday, Christie, is that open to the public, that particular meeting? Or Christie's in the back there.
Mr. Chairman, so I think Tracy, we're trying to keep that to just the fire professionals. So we've got Mountain Fire, County Fire, Stu Anderson.
Would it,
Certainly, we'll bring that public, when we're done. The concern, Mr. Chairman, would be is if we open it up, we kind of lose that ability to make the sausage. But
I wanted to ask that question, not that I wanted to go to another meeting, but that All City News has taken an interest in this, and I'm sure that's a question that he may have had, but I'm not putting words in his mouth at all. Okay, and then the only other question was of Mike Hagler, of the vacating of the county road that's on the slate. What road is that by chance? Pardon? Oh, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't on Casper Mountain.
It's the
So
road we
with
get
that,
into your house up there.
that's what's scary with the things going with the shortage of diesel fuel. We may all be wearing our snowshoes to get home this year on them, wherever we live. On it. So last but not least here, Paul, you did an excellent job. I want to thank you because you read the crowd pretty well tonight, that there was a lot of people here wanting to get an update on the zoning rewrite. I was a little nervous when it went off to the direction of the nuisance, but you picked up the pieces, and I want to thank you for that. And you did such a good job for the new ones that are here. I think it'll speed up the public comment. Can you give them just a quick briefing, like what's going on at the commissioner's level, being that you heard us loud and clear, the public, what's, a few of the other things. Can you
Sure.
give them a quick narrative?
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet. So after receiving more than a fair number of comments, plus our own reviews of the zoning, there's going to be a lot of changes. Now, a lot of people are sending out emails to us asking us to vote no. Well, no means that the 2000 resolution stays in force. Almost, as near as I can tell, almost everything that in the body that is objectionable is in the existing 2000 zoning, so it would stay in force. So this is an opportunity for us to update the zoning that reflects the changes that have occurred. So we've all gone through it, and I would say have gone through it and have found more things that objectionable than we've been emailed. We've all collected them and have made some spreadsheets that have been passed along to our planner, Christy Turner. So that's where we're at today. On this November 8th, our Planning Commission is meeting to approve their last meeting's minutes, which will incorporate the current changes from the September 1st draft that is on the county website. At that point, that'll be the official, quote, working document. It'll have quite a few changes from the September 1st draft. The commissioners then intend to meet on November 29th at 9 a.m. to go through the entire document, page by page, and address the issues that we feel is either negligent in the document or that needs to be modified or in a lot of cases just absolutely struck. At that point, we'll reincorporate that into a document that is somewhat more reflective of a draft that we will present for the December 6th meeting that the public can then look at and have some feel for what we are looking at approving. On the 6th, we will bring that document forward. The amendments to that document that the commissioners, by majority or probably in most cases will be unanimous, agreed that need to be changed in the document. We'll amend the document accordingly. We will still take public comment that night on the overall document. If we feel the document is still not in a workable, readable sense that the public can truly understand, we have the opportunity to table that to a later date and continue to work it. We're in no rush to get this done. We want to get it right. We want to make sure that where there really is some concerns that we're being too picky or detailed or, just sticking our nose in where it doesn't belong as local government, that we address those issues. And so with that, how'd I do, Tracy? Okay.
Good. Did a wonderful job.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the commission? Good evening.
Hello, Andrea Boyer of Omaha Trail in Barnum. I just kind of have a doozy of a question, but the last few days I've been reading about, of course, we all know about the potential diesel shortages, and I was curious to see if the county or any of the municipalities here in the county have been putting in any kind of discussion or planning on anything that we can do to mitigate any problems that we could be facing.
I'm looking at our road and bridge, who probably knows more about diesel. He's shaking his head no at this point.
There hasn't
Okay.
been a collaborative effort yet
Okay.
that we're talking about, came up last week.
I'm sure it'd probably be led by YDOT, who runs a lot of diesel down the road.
Okay.
Right,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Anyone else?
Well, not having
Okay.
heard,
Okay,
oh, I
ma'am.
better start,
Yeah.
sorry. My name is Julie York, and I live at 8400 Casper Mountain Road. I've lived on the mountain my whole life. My grandparents homesteaded up there, still in the spot where their little homestead cabin was. So I've got a deep commitment to the mountain and interest in the mountain and protective feelings towards the mountain. And so I've been very concerned with these wildfire mitigation regulations, which I feel like are very destructive to the mountain. Both the mountain community, I don't know what you already talked about, so I don't know what to go into. But for one thing, I agree with all the overreach and that it's wrong. And I also agree with, the fact that it's too much government intervention. But more than that, I feel like the things that you are demanding that people do are destructive to the ecosystem. You thin the trees and you get the land dried out. You remove all the debris and that causes, the replenishment of the soil to stop. By removing the shade, by spacing out the trees the way they are, you eliminate a whole lot of the flowers and plants that are there, the mosses, the wintergreens, the orchids. The orchids absolutely have to have, the deadfall to feed off of. They've got a symbiotic relationship with the fungus that grows in that, and they won't grow without it. You think you're doing the right thing for the mountain, but you're actually destroying what is there. And I think that the landowners should be able to make their own choices on it. And then I do have some things that I think are inconsistent and confusing, and I will send you an email with what those specific things are. One of them is when you're talking about the building standards and people are allowed to have glass block windows or tempered glass windows or multi-layered glass panels, and that's it. And I don't even know what a multi-layered glass panel is. I called some of the window stores today to see if they did, and they didn't. They didn't know what that meant. So nobody's going to move to the mountain and have glass block windows that you can't see out of. And you don't want tempered glass either. Maybe it stands up to the fire, I don't know, but I know that if you throw a little rock against it, it shatters into a zillion pieces. So that leaves you with multi-layered glass panels, which, like I say, I don't even know what you mean. There's several things on there, and I will send you my list. And I apologize because maybe you've already decided to take care of all this stuff. You know, on the one hand, it's government overreach into private property rights, and on the other side, it's destructive of the environment. So that's all I have.
Thank you. So please do send that. The
Okay.
mitigation is one of the first ones that I will speak just for myself. I saw that and was, no. We don't have staff that goes out and measures your grass every day. Or
that.
5 years, or checks the trees. So that is one that's very much on our radar. I'm probably all the commissioners agree with that. As far as the building standards stuff, some of the stuff maybe it's the terminology. We got one that home occupation. It sounds like somebody's occupying your home, but it's home occupation. What do you do in your house? So there's some of the terminology, when you first read it, doesn't make sense. And if you have some of those that you don't understand, please send them to us. So if you don't understand them, we might not understand them, and maybe it's just the way it was stated. And there's a good chance some of it may not fit. So we appreciate your input because it is a large document, and having more input into what doesn't work really helps us.
Well, and let me add one more thing that I had forgotten. On one hand, saying that you're very concerned about the water table and too many wells. And then on the other hand, that the grass has to be watered. I mean, you know, it makes no sense whatsoever.
And there's a lot of places that don't have grass, don't have water wells.
True. And, you know, the whole thing of having to have, you know, introduce fire-resistant species that aren't even native to the environment when the things that are currently living there are doing just fine. It's just wrong. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Nicolason.
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Hendry.
I've got, I guess, just one thing. Last week, we lost a former county commissioner, Pinky Ellis, passed away. And I know we've been talking about the hospital, but he was on the board when they made the deal with Wyoming Medical Center to run the hospital. And I was going to look at the dates when I went in down there on his picture, and I didn't do it. But anyway, Frank, before I got on the commission, I was the first rancher since Pinky Ellis. And it was I was 20 years or something like that. But anyway, that was all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner North.
I just want to thank everybody for the input that we have had on the zoning rewrite. It's a challenging document to read through. It's very long and very technical, and there's a lot of idiosyncrasies to it, but I think we're moving in the right direction. We have, all the commissioners have gone through, and we've picked out a lot of stuff that we didn't care for, and I think we're moving in the right direction on that. So hopefully we can get something that we're all satisfied and the public is also.
Commissioner Milne?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Okay. I don't believe I have anything else. Elections next week. There's a lot in the school board and Casper College. They got some great candidates, probably more great candidates than positions to fill. So highly recommend you do your homework before you go to vote. And please vote for the 1 cent and for the Constitutional Amendment A. Both will have positive, in the case of the 1 cent, I won't just say positive, but probably has the most impact of anything on that ballot to Natrona County, as well as all the municipalities in Natrona. We really cannot function without that 1 cent. So please vote yes on it. Constitutional Amendment A will provide an option for local governments to broaden their ability to invest their reserve funds. It is an option. Most entities will not choose to get into it because it will require you to lock up your funds for significant periods of time, as in 5 years plus. It is what most entities use as the retirement funds, pension funds. This is the type of investments that they do. It's an opportunity for the county in particular to use some of its long hospital funds that will generate revenues that will have probably the biggest impact on the operations and facilities in Natrona County in a lifetime. It has the huge potential for us. So please go out and vote. And if you don't vote for it, please at least vote, because a no vote, an empty vote is treated as a no vote on constitutional amendments. We may have a majority of those that voted yes or no, but if you don't mark your ballot, it is treated as a no vote. So with that,